Hey, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video today. Today, NFL Draft is this week, so today we're going to be going over the best NFL draft picks for every single team in the NFL. Now, this list is good. It's my opinion, and it's based on, some draft position and obviously how they played for the team that actually drafted them. So, someone like, you're not going to find Brett Favre on this list. He was drafted by Atlanta, played for Green Bay. That's just not going to work out. And a lot of times that this was very difficult to actually make the right decision because there's teams where they had a couple guys who were really good. Maybe someone who was picked early who is a Hall of Famer and someone who was picked a little bit later who is also a Hall of Famer. So there's a little bit in there. So if you guys disagree with anything or you have your favorites for your teams, put them down in the comments below. But let's get into it. And start out with the Arizona Cardinals. We got AENEAS Williams, who was drafted 59th overall. He's a Hall of Famer. And the question here for me was Larry Fitzgerald, who I think is an absolutely amazing player. But he's got a very comparable career to AENEAS Williams. So because Williams was drafted a lot later, we went with him. Up next, we have the Atlanta Falcons. And we got Matt Ryan here. The franchise quarterback for Atlanta. He's changed the franchise completely. I know he was picked really high, but I still feel that he is probably the best draft pick they've had, easily. And this one was really, really easy for the Baltimore Ravens. Ray Lewis at 26 overall, one of the best players in NFL history. Getting him near the end of the first round, that was a steal. It was a steal, absolute steal. And up next, Buffalo Bills. This one was a little tricky as well because they had a ton of Hall of Famers, especially in the early 90s. And it was really, for me, between Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas. And I just believe that Jim Kelly was more important to Buffalo's success. Granted, they didn't win the Super Bowl, but Jim Kelly takes it with the 14th overall pick for the Buffalo Bills. Up next, we got the Carolina Panthers and Steve Smith going number 74 overall. Now, the person that we were comparing him to here was Julius Peppers. And Peppers has had a great career as well. But Steve Smith, with the value of getting him in the third round there, you just couldn't beat it. He embodied everything that Carolina wanted to do. And just an amazing, amazing player. Up next, the Chicago Bears. Such a storied history. So many great players you could pick. But I had to go with Walter Payton. Sweetness himself, one of the best players of all time, one of the best running backs of all time. Yeah, he was drafted high, but that's okay. To me, Walter Payton, best draft pick in Bears history. Up next, we got the Cincinnati Bengals. Again, similar situation. They've had a couple really, really good draft picks on some really good players. But Anthony MUNOZ is one of the best offensive linemen ever. And sure, he went number 3 overall. But even if you were getting a top 5, top 10 lineman of all time at number 3, considering all the busts that occur, I had to give it to him. Had to give it to him. And now we get to the Cleveland Browns and their fun franchise history. It could have been Joe Thomas. This could have been Joe Thomas, but Jim Brown, right? That's all you got to say. It's Jim Brown. It's Jim Brown. Up next, the Dallas Cowboys, and again, another team with a ton of history where you could have picked so many players, but simply because Roger Staubach was picked so late in the draft, for whatever reasons it was, is who we're going with. So Roger Staubach, who was picked 129th overall in his draft, just to get your franchise quarterback that late is just incredible. Just incredible. Up next, the Denver Broncos, Terrell Davis. Now, he had a very short career. The Broncos also drafted John Elway, right? But they didn't win it all until TD came into the mix. Hall of Fame running back, 196th overall pick. Just amazing to be able to get, that kind of productivity out of someone picked that late in the draft. Just unbelievable. The Detroit Lions, there was nobody else. It's Barry Sanders. Yeah, 3rd overall draft pick, but it's Barry Sanders. He's Barry Sanders. There's nowhere else to go. Now, Green Bay was a tricky one. And I went with A-Rod. Just because, I mean, yeah, he was a first-round quarterback. But so many teams passed him up. It's not like he was the first quarterback taken. He's got to be one of the most gifted, gunslingers of all time. Just the fact that they were able to get him, the fact that they did pick him when they still even had Brett Favre on there, just amazing. Just amazing. Now, Houston Texans. This one really gave me some angst because Andre Johnson embodied the Houston Texans for so many years. Amazing receiver. And he was picked a little bit higher. J.J. Watt getting picked 11th overall. His career is not done, Andre Johnson. His career is done. But I do think that over time, J.J. Watt will probably end up being more highly regarded. So that's why we went with J.J. Watt. But if anyone said Andre Johnson, I wouldn't even argue with you. Up next, Indianapolis Colts. There's only one man, and I know he did play in Denver as well, but what he did for Indy was just amazing. Peyton Manning, #1 overall pick, essentially who became the gold standard of quarterback when he came into the league. Amazing. Easy pick there. Now, Jacksonville. Jacksonville's had a lot of really good players over the years, but a lot of them were drafted by other teams. The player that they actually drafted who had, to me, the best career for them was Maurice Jones-Drew. 60th overall. Little bowling ball. Just, if you guys, I remember him so much. I remember a lot of other Jags, but MJD to me, the value that he gave them at 60 overall was perfect. Kansas City Chiefs. Now, this one was a little trickier as well because you could have had Derek Thomas here. You could go either way. Tony played one more year in Kansas City, so I give him the nod there. But either way, the guys were both absolutely amazing. Both Hall of Famers. You can't go wrong. You just couldn't go wrong. Next up, the Miami Dolphins. Now, this one was a little harder for me because you've got Dan Marino, who is just amazing. He broke the mold for what quarterbacks do. And he was drafted 27th overall. Like, that's crazy. But you had someone like Zach Thomas, who played for so long, and he was drafted, I don't know, somewhere in the 160s for this draft. And amazing value, but I just feel that Dan Marino embodies them a bit better. If he was picked #1, #3, #5 overall, I wouldn't have him here. But at 27, you're still shooting in the dark, hoping to get a quarterback. And they did. Minnesota Vikings up next. Randy Moss, the easy choice for me. One of the best receivers ever. Maybe the most talented receiver of all time. At 21. Now, I know that a lot of times we're used to seeing receivers drafted, a little bit later on and getting production these days. But Randy Moss was a freak. Getting him at 21 was a steal, in my opinion. Easy. Now, the easiest choice of all, obviously, is the Patriots and Tom Brady at 199. Everyone knew this was coming, so we'll just keep going. Up next, New Orleans Saints Marcus Colston, drafted 252nd overall. Now, I know you're probably thinking, this doesn't include undrafted players, since we're talking about the draft. Marcus Colston, a 7th-round draft pick. The production he gave them was outstanding. And any team would love to find a receiver who's going to give you that caliber in the 7th round. Crazy. Here's another difficult one for me. The New York Giants. I picked Michael Strahan simply for his draft position. He's a Hall of Famer. Tons of sacks, but you had someone like Lawrence Taylor, who was also a Hall of Famer, probably considered a better player, just drafted a lot higher. So you could go either way here as well, but I just think that getting Michael Strahan at 40 overall is just amazing. Just amazing. Up next, The Jets, they didn't really have a lot of people. So you got to go with Broadway Joe Namath. To me, he was the easy pick. Even though he was the #1 overall pick, he embodies the Jets. He still is the Jets. He will always be the Jets. And if the Jets want to, break this, they're going to have to draft really, really well. Up next, the Raiders with Kenny Stabler, 52 overall. Again, lots of really good possible players. But the Snake, he's got to be him. It's got to be him. The Eagles up next with Brian Dawkins, Hall of Fame safety, 61 overall. I know he played a lot in Denver as well, but he's an Eagle in my eyes and a lot of people's eyes. He's an Eagle. He was the embodiment of that defense. Just an amazing player. And anytime you can get a Hall of Fame safety at 61, you take it. This one, the Steelers had so many players, and it's so hard. This is so hard because their team is just littered with Hall of Famers. So if you disagree with this, I totally get it. But to me, Jack Lambert, 46 overall, he was the linebacker. He was the linebacker for Pittsburgh. So that's the only reason I went with him. But you could make an argument for 10 guys easily, and nobody could be upset. Now this one, this is along the lines of the Tom Brady, the Rams, St. Louis, LA Rams getting Deacon Jones at 186 overall. That's crazy. It's insane, but it made it one of the easier choices for me overall. Up next, San Diego Chargers with Dan Fouts. Dan Fouts. Just, again, he was the quarterback. I know Phillip Rivers is going to go, and he's beating all of his statistics and his records and all that, but Dan Fouts, 64th overall pick. Amazing. Franchise quarterback. Another extremely difficult one. You could go Jerry Rice here, and I don't think anyone would be upset. I picked Joe Montana for the 49ers simply because 82nd overall, he's regarded as 1, 2, or 3 quarterbacks of all time. You can't go wrong there. And same thing here with Seattle, where Seattle had a great track record of drafting players late in the draft. But when it comes to a Super Bowl winning quarterback at number 75 overall, you got to put him in here. Russell Wilson, easy choice to me there. Same thing, Tampa Bay, John Lynch, Hall of Fame safety, number 82 overall pick. He's amazing. I know he played elsewhere as well. But to me, still a very easy choice. The Tennessee Titans getting Steve McNair at number 3 is my next choice. He still, to me, embodies the Titans. When they moved from Houston to Tennessee, that's what I remember is Steve McNair, especially in that Super Bowl. 100% the easiest thing to see. So we go with that. And we finish up right here with the Washington Redskins. Again, lots of history, but I'm going with Darryl Green, number 28 overall. He played, I felt like 35 seasons, all with Washington. So I hope you guys enjoyed this list. If you guys have any comments about it, let me know down below. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time. And I'm CC, and I'm out. Peace.